take 3. As you might notice, I'm recording in a different location of my home today. I'm on my couch in the living room because my craft desk is, basically you just can't see my craft desk, my sewing desk, because I have been sewing like a beast over the last couple of days. So let me introduce myself. My name is Shawna, and I'm your host today, coming to you from Buffalo, New York. This is the Adelaide Cottage podcast about knitting, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, crafting. So I hope you enjoy. Welcome if it's your first time, and welcome back to those of you who have subscribed. Yes, so today's Monday. Both of my little guys are in school, and hubby's at work, and he just got a promotion, so that's super exciting. But that also means that he is going to have to spend a little bit more time at work for probably a good month or so. He manages a pharmacy in the area, and he was promoted to a much busier store to manage that pharmacy and clean it up because it just needs a good cleanup, and they're really busy. So anyhow, not like you care about that. I'm just going to touch on my weekend a little bit for you, talk about any finished objects, whips, and some sewing acquisitions and a shop update at the end. So let's see, what did we do? Okay, so it's snowing right now, and Friday it was gorgeous outside. We went for a little walk. In our neighborhood, there's this really, really nice bike trail that goes through the whole entire neighborhood, and it stops at a really cute little ice cream shop. So we didn't get quite that far because I can't walk far, but we kind of traveled into the woods a little bit because there's tons of trees and leaves, and there's tons of leaves there from fall that just haven't gone away yet. So the boys had an amazing time, and they were just playing with the sticks and throwing leaves at each other, and my oldest Aiden got me with a stick, so I have a sweet little cut there that's scabbing. But you know when your cuts are healing and they scab and they itch and you scratch the scab off? That happened this morning. So it hurts a little bit. So that was Friday. And then we went out to dinner with my aunt and uncle to a really, really nice restaurant. I had salmon, which was delicious. It fell apart as soon as I put the fork to it. And I mentioned before that I'm trying to be vegetarian. Call me silly, but I thought vegetarians could eat seafood, but apparently not. And I'm honestly not doing that good with the whole vegetarian thing. I have definitely drastically cut down the whole family's meat consumption, but I still have it occasionally, maybe once a week or so. So I'm happy with that. That's kind of where I am with that. But the dinner was delicious. We had a yummy dessert. I had a peanut butter cheesecake with this cookie crust that was amazing. I don't know, it was just really nice. It was nice to go out with my husband, kind of like we were on a date in a way, and just get time to talk. My in-laws kind of watched, well, they didn't kind of watch, they watched our children for us while we went. And Saturday, there's this really fun place that opened up in the mall nearby, and I will get onto knitting in just a minute, I promise. It's called Billy Bees, and it's basically like a ginormous fun house with really big slides. There's a cute little toddler area. There's an area where you can shoot foam balls at each other, like a ball pit. So it's a lot of fun. So we did that Saturday, and then we went to see Zootopia with the boys, and Sunday we kind of just relaxed and hung out. Went to my in-laws for dinner like we do every Sunday, and here we are. Last night I was up really late sewing after everybody went to sleep, and I didn't get much sleep because I had to wake up early to get the boys off to school. So actually just now, I'm drinking Tim Hortons coffee. I went to brew myself a cup of coffee and forgot to put the cup underneath it, so yeah. I need this caffeine today. So I hope all of you are doing well. I had a lovely Easter. I hope those of you who celebrate it had a wonderful one as well. My finished object was an Easter gift. I think I finished it the day after Easter, though. But it was an Easter gift to my smallest. And it's the Bonbon Bunny. And it's a pattern by Susan Claudino, and she has a lot of really nice patterns that I want to knit. I'm kind of new to stuffed animal knitting, but it's a lot of fun. And my boys really seem to enjoy it. So I will show you him. And last time I talked about the bag a bag that I saw at Barnes & Noble that I wanted to get that was Easter themed, and I wanted to keep the Bonbon Bunny in it, and I was telling you how I wanted to go back and get it. I did. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you might see that I went back to get it because I posted a picture. And you can find me on Instagram under the name Adelaide Cottage, and same thing on Ravelry. There's a group called Adelaide Cottage on Ravelry, and we're doing a knit along right now for the Trailing Ivy shawl, which I'll talk about in a little while, and just some chatter and giveaways and things like that. So definitely join. I have an Etsy shop with the same name where I sell hand-dyed yarn and project bags. So onto the bag. How cute is this, you guys? It tells a couple sentences of the tale of Peter Rabbit. You ready for this? Can you take it? A little cotton ball tail. And then the inside has writing from the tail. So really super cute. It was only $10. I couldn't pass it up. I passed it up the first time and then I went back. So I probably spent more in gas. Should have just got it the first time, right? But I knit my Bonbon Bunny. I'll show you him first. I'm going to move up on the couch a little bit. I couldn't move the camera any closer because the table's here. So here he is. He's super cute, isn't he? And he's squishy and soft. Oh, you're so cute. It's amazing how they just come to life, isn't it? I used Gnome Acres Squishy Base, which is a DK, I believe, or worsted. Let me double check. Worsted weight in the Bad Bunny colorway. 218 yards is 100% superwash merino, and I was inspired to knit one of these because of Jilly of the Knitting Broomsticks podcast, whom I love, and she knits these a lot, and I just thought it was way too cute, and Easter was the perfect time to knit one for my boys. So I have two boys, and I knit one. I think this took me 3 days with a lot of interruptions from the little one, which is totally fine and expected of a toddler. But my point is that they don't take long to knit. So you kind of knit it in pieces. You do the legs and you put them to the side on a extra needle, and then you knit the body, and then you knit the legs when you're done right onto the body as you're starting it, and then you knit the arms, you knit up the body, and then you attach the arms, and so on and so forth. And the eyes I got at, isn't he cute? The eyes, they're safety eyes, so they don't come off. I got them at Joann Fabrics in the little doll section where they have doll clothes and things like that. It's kind of not on the side with the fabrics, but more with the little kids' toys and things like that. So I think it was like $2.99, and I got 6 pair of eyes, I believe. So many people were asking where they can get these animal eyes. And here is what the package looks like. So you get 6 pieces, and they're brown eyes with the black pupil. And I think they were $2.99, and then you use your Joann Fabrics coupon, 40% off coupon, so that's a super good deal. Okay, so yeah, I knit one of them, and the boys both watched me knit it, and they knew what I was making. And I was like, okay, I cannot hold on to the first finished one until the second one is finished. I just can't do that. It was too exciting. Let me just move this a little bit. There we go. Is it? Are we on here? Yes, we are. Okay. I can't just hold on to a finished one. So I'm like, who do I give it to? Well, I was brainstorming, and there were a few defects in him. He's got, one ear is longer than the other by quite a bit. Poor little guy. And I sewed one of his legs on backwards. Like I said, it's my first time making a stuffy. It's supposed to be like that. But, so I was like, okay, I'm going to tell Aiden, my 8-year-old, that he gets to pick, and maybe he should let his little brother have this one so that I can make him one, because Evan, the little guy, won't notice, you know, he won't notice those things. So Aiden was like, oh yeah, give that one to Evan, and I wanted to cast on Aiden's right away, but I'm holding out because there is a Cal that I'm joining that started April 1st, and it's a stuffy along with the Legacy Knits podcast with Chelsea and Sue. So I forget how long it goes, but I know that it started April 1st, and I'm going to make this guy's little brother for that. So I'm going to cast on soon. Hopefully tonight. We'll see. But this is how much yarn I have left. So it was a 100-gram ball, or skein, I should say, and this took 62 grams for this guy. So I'm nervous. What size needles did I use? This was like Easter, so I forgot. I think I used what it recommended. I did use a long circular for Magic Loop that time. It says approximately 50 grams. And whatever needle size works. So I believe I used a 4 or a 5. So I think I'm going to use a 4 for Aiden's. Oh my gosh, I'm mixing them up. And yeah, so it's going to be a little bit smaller, but that's how much is left. But I still love the colorway. It's so much fun. Perfect for a boy or a girl, I think. So that's my faux. Let's see. I have my Cozy Memories blanket that I've been working on. Look how it drapes over the couch, you guys. It's a blanket. Yeah, it's kind of an L shape right now, but let's see, what did I put on since we chatted last? I can't remember if I showed you this one, but that's blush from homespun house. This is Berlin Sunset from a homespun house, and this is from her as well. This is a one-of-a-kind colorway that she's not dyeing up anymore. And then this is the wool barn called Pebble Beach, which I really love. It's kind of like a cream base with grays and browns. This is my favorite of Molly's of Homespun House. Berlin Sunset. I love it. So pretty. So that's that. I've been working on that. I think each square takes me about half an hour. I think I'm a slow knitter. I don't know if that's fast or slow. What do you guys think? I feel like it's slow. The other thing I've been knitting on is my Trailing Ivy shawl, and this is a knit along that I'm hosting. If you go to the Ravelry group, Adelaide Cottage, you'll see the chatter thread. It just opened April 1st, and it goes through May 31st, and the designer, Alana Dacos, who is Never Not Knitting on Instagram, is offering 20% off to the CAL members, which is so generous and thoughtful. So the code for that is in the Ravelry group thread, so you can go and check that out and purchase the pattern. So I'm just going to show you a quick picture for those of you who care to see. It's a beautiful shawl that you can wear spring, summer, fall. It's knit up in worsted weight, DK weight, sorry. I'm getting my yarn weights mixed up today, guys. DK weight and about 550 yards. So I don't have a lot of DK weight yarn, and I'm sort of a loose knitter. So I decided to use my sport weight yarn from the Woolen Rabbit that I purchased when we were in New York City for one of my doctor's appointments. When I picked it out, I forget what yarn store we went to purchase this, but it was kind of really dimly lit in there, and there wasn't a huge selection. This was in the east side, New York City's east side, I believe, near York and 52nd, near Memorial Sloan Kettering. It was somewhere around there, maybe near Central Park, in that area. So this is the Woolen Rabbit Sporty Biffle Base 3-ply sport weight yarn. It's 100% Blueface Leicester, 275 yards, Daddy's Steelbooks colorway. So I bought 2 skeins, which is almost perfect. And they are completely different. And I totally, being a hand dyer of yarns, I totally understand, you can see it from here, how no skein is the same. You could never repeat it exactly, a colorway. But I feel like when I was in there, I noticed that they weren't the same, and I'm like, oh, you know, when I'm knitting, I'll just switch cakes. I'll switch skeins every 2 rows, and you kind of won't be able to see the difference. But when I got into the sunlight, I was like, oh my goodness, I just bought a gray and a taupe, but they're the same colorway. So this is the color I fell in love with, which is very tonal gray. I'm a sucker for grays. I love gray. Gray, mauve, pink, taupe. They're all my favorite. So yeah, there's that one, and then here's that one. So this is definitely more on the beige brownie side, which I think it's still very pretty, but they're just very different. So I have been alternating cakes every 2 rows, but now it's looking kind of stripy. Let me show you what it looks like. Sorry about that. I'm saying sorry to my pottery that I'm going to show you in a little while. I was saying sorry too for the noise, but It sounded like I was saying sorry to my pottery. Coffee! Okay, here it is. What do you think? Does it look stripy to you? I really love the way it's designed so far. So there's these it's a crescent shaped shawl, and there's these nice wedges that break it up. I definitely see stripes, but I feel like I like the way it's looking, so I'm not going to rip it back. But for somebody that wants their garment to be all the same tonal color or hue or whatever, this probably would bother them, but it's to be expected with hand-dyed yarns. Like I said, if you want skeins to match exactly, you need to ask the dyer to put them in the same dye pot, however they're dyeing them. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying knitting this. The pattern is memorizable, I think, so far. And then you start to get into this cabling for the leaves, which is really, really pretty. It kind of pleats. It pleats out, and then there's leaves inside of the pleat. And there's a really nice textured pattern. So you work from a chart for the cabling. And it calls for a US size 7 circular needle. But there's also written directions too if you don't like working from charts. So I am using my US size 7 or 4.5 millimeter Carbons interchangeables, which I love. Sometimes I wish I had something a little tiny bit pointier for lace knitting. Like when you're knitting two together, or knitting through the back loop, or purling front and back, or whatever. These are sharp, they really are. Much sharper than my Knit Picks Options Sunstruck interchangeable. It's a wooden set. I feel like those are so blunt. I do not like knitting with them at all. I might actually sell my set. I'm thinking about it. They're not very expensive to begin with, but I don't want them to just sit there if I'm not using them. So love the Carbons, but I just wanted another set of needles, which this is kind of an acquisition, just so I'm not looking at the same needles all the time, although I do love looking at these. So I just wanted to have an option. If I'm using a size 4 Carbons, then I can't use a size 4 for another project, that type of thing. So I just wanted a backup set of interchangeables. So I had brain freeze there for a minute. I researched and asked opinions of knitter friends what they think about. I was debating between 3 sets. I was thinking about the Hiya Sharps, because I hear Danny of Little Bobbins raving about them a lot, and definitely knew that those needles have a sharper tip. I think she punctured herself with one before, actually. Poor Danny. Excuse me. Then, okay, so it was that set, and then I was looking at the Chaogoos, I think that's how you say it, or Chaigous, which stands for crafty lady, I believe, in Chinese, which is totally a cute name. I've heard really good things about that set, but I heard that the cable was a bit stiff, but that they're sharper than Carbons, but not as sharp as Hiya Sharps. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think I might open a thread in my group to kind of write down or type out what your favorite knitting needles are, because I think it's interesting how everybody has different preferences and things that they love and things that they don't love. And then the third set is the Knit Pro Rosewood Symphony needle. So then I was thinking, like, do I want to spend a ton of money on a whole interchangeable set, or should I just get fixed circulars and a few common sizes that I use? Because my carbons, I forgot what sizes they go up to. I think it's 11 or 12. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But I never use those ones. I never use above, I think the 7 is, which I am using for this trailing ivy, is the largest needle I've used since I started knitting anything other than the first bulky hats that I ever knit in my life. So I usually use a size 0 or 1 for socks, a US size 0 or 1 for socks, and for shawls it's usually a 3, 4, or 5, I think. So I was like, I don't want to buy this whole set that goes up to, Chaigu's set goes up to a size US 15, which I will never use, I don't think. And then have them just sit there. So did more research. I ended up finding out that Chaigu offers 3 different options. You can get their whole complete set, which is size 0, I think, up to a US size 15. Or you can get the small set, which goes up to a size 8 or 9. And then the large set goes from 9 to 15. So I thought, perfect. I've heard that they're sharper than carbons, but not as sharp as Hayahayas. And I'll just get the sizes that I need. And I'm also a tapper. I knit continental, and I tap the needle with my right pointer finger as I knit to kind of push the yarn along. So they're metal needles, but I like that they're smooth, so the yarn will just kind of flow. I got the Chaigu Twist Red Lace interchangeable small set. Basically, I could have just said that in the beginning. That was a really long short story. Sorry about that. Okay, so those should be here Wednesday. So I'll be able to give you a little bit of a review and feedback next podcast next week. A couple other things that I purchased I'll talk about in a minute, but I just got done test knitting Molly of A Homespun House's new shawl, the alpine shawl with the little pine trees along the bottom, which I think is being released this week, which is super exciting. And then Mina of the Knitting Expat podcast kindly asked if I would be willing to test knit her new shawl design, which she is kind of working together with Nicole of Huloco. Mina is designing a pattern. I think Nicole is coming up with the yarn for it. But yeah, she asked me to test knit, and she gave me a month. And I was thinking, like, I really enjoyed knitting Molly's shawl, but there was like a 2-week deadline, and it's a not massive, it's a large shawl. I would say similar to the size of her, is it the Windswept? I feel like there's 2, and now I'm mixing them up. The one that came out most recently, it's about that size. So I only had 2 weeks, and I feel like that's all I was knitting on, and I was not able to knit anything else. I just felt like the responsible thing to do would be to knit on the thing I agreed to knit and make corrections and not knit anything else. So when I was done with the 2 weeks, I was like, it was just like a huge weight off my shoulders. Like I said, beautiful shawl, beautiful pattern. It was just the 2-week deadline for this huge shawl. And I just wanted to, I'm watching podcasts in the meantime and getting inspired to knit all of these things. And I just felt like I shouldn't or couldn't cast anything on. So I'm finally like, I made the Bonbon Bunny I cast on for my Cal, and then I get this message from Mina, sweet Mina. And she's like, no pressure, you don't feel like you have to, just asking, And I was like, you know what? I kind of miss test knitting. I miss, not finding errors, but being like, oh, I think this is supposed to be like this or whatever. And she was giving me a month to finish this, I believe. I have to double check. I think she said 4 weeks, which is double the time I had before, and I think it's a smaller shawl. So I agreed to do it, and I think it'll be fun. So I'm going to be test knitting that. I don't know what I can say about it right now, so I'm not going to say anything. I know a little bit about it, but like I said, I'm just going to keep it private until she gives me the go-ahead to show it via a picture on Instagram or on the podcast or nothing at all. Whatever she wants, I will adhere to that. So that's exciting. I also purchased some stitch markers, Chai stitch markers. I ordered all of this stuff on Amazon. I love Amazon Prime. Holy moly. They're just awesome. And then I ordered a knitting book. I forgot what it's called. I ordered a couple skeins of hedgehog fibers, which I've never tried, but only have heard lovely things about it. Super fun colorways. They're the newer colorways that they just came out with. I forgot what they're called. I ordered during their last update. And I think I ordered singles, 2 skeins. So those should be coming any day. So I'll have those to show you next time. Let's see, what else did I order? A single, okay, so I ordered Addie sock rockets, and the cord was too short for magic loop for me. I don't know if my hands are just bigger, or I forgot what size cord I got. I think 24 inch. I just felt like I was confined, like I couldn't move my hands around the way I wanted. So I bought 32 inch cord in a US size 0, I think. 0 or 1. So those will be coming along with my Chai set, which I'm super excited. It's supposed to come Wednesday. It's going to be an exciting day, mail day. And then I also caught a Vine Yarns update. She showed, let me see here. I'm going to be rude and look on my Instagram for a second. She showed a new colorway called I Am No Bird, and I fell in love with it. Yes. Okay, so it is featured in her Jane Air-inspired yarn collection. You guys, super pretty. This came the other day, and here it is. If I can put all of my favorite colors into one skein of yarn, this would be it. This mauve up here, I know some people say mauve. I was always taught to say mauve. I don't think it matters, tomato, tomato. But there's really pretty taupe, mauve, brown, some specks of blue and gold and yellow, and it's on her blitzed base, which is stellina, 5% stellina. This is the silver stellina. And yeah, she's got her nice new tags, which I actually ordered some of these not too long ago because I heard, who was it? I think Nicole of Huloco was mentioning that it keeps your skein together nicely when you store your yarn. So I was noticing that with my tags, they were starting to get tangled and becoming loose. I think I have a couple. Yeah, see how floppy it is? And it loosened up a lot. So I'm going to try out the wraps. Those should be here any day as well, and see if I like them better. But I don't know what this is going to be yet. I probably should have gotten 2 skeins of it. It's that pretty, but it's 438 yards. It's a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% silver stellina. Beautiful, Kristen. You did an awesome dye job on this. Definitely one of my favorite colorways. I almost don't want to cake it up and use it because I just want to stare at it. I can go on and on about this skein of yarn, but I won't. Love it. Okay, what else did I? That's it, but there's still things I want to order, you guys. I want to order from all of you makers, all of you who have shops websites. I want to try one of the bags by Alex Collins, her drawstring bag that she screen prints her designs on. I actually, when I saw that, I giggled because I screen printed in high school. That was like a major in my high school, if you will. There were kind of things you can specialize in. It was kind of like a trade high school. So there was carpentry, horticulture, marine life, construction, plumbing, and then I was in printing, screen printing. And it was so much fun. I just don't have the supplies now to do anything like that. Maybe someday I'll try to sketch something out and make a few things out of it. But screen printing was fun. My best friend, one of my best friends and I were in it together, and we had a blast screen printing things. And then you take the power washer to like wash the screens off, and we just made a mess of everything and got paint everywhere. So yeah, that's what I went to high school for, and then college was nursing. So I don't know how that correlates with printing, but whatevs. So, okay, that's it for acquisitions. Like I said, a lot of it I don't have to show you, but I will next week. I'm going to talk about a little bit of sewing, some questions and answers from the thread in my group, and then a little bit of a shop update at the end, which I actually have a few things to show you for that. That tastes so good. Before I go into sewing, I've been taking pottery classes, which I've mentioned, and I'm thoroughly enjoying. I really like throwing clay. That's the term you use when you're kind of sculpting something on the pottery wheel. And I was concerned about it because I have a hard time keeping my head down. It can get painful for me. So I was worried about sitting at this pottery wheel and having to look down at this clay and work at it. So it ends up that it's actually a really comfortable position because you actually lean your whole body over the wheel in your project, and your head, you don't really have to hypoextend it or bend it down. It's basically parallel with your piece, your pottery piece. So that works out really well for me. But throwing clay is not as easy as it looks. It's a lot of practice, and I was talking to Danny about it because I found out that she does some pottery. Danny of Little Bobbins podcast. She said, no, it takes a lot of upper body strength and a lot of practice. Don't get discouraged. So she kind of, encouraged me to keep going with it. And I'm glad I did, because these are what I made in my first class. And they are wonky looking, whatever that means. So that's the first one. You see how it's completely uneven right here? That's okay. But we got to glaze them, which is to put your coloring on, and then they put them in the kiln, and it basically melts the glaze down and hardens, and it's this really cool design. And then I made a smaller, like an aqua green, smaller version of this, and Jason loved it and is using it in the bathroom to put his contact case in. So I'm glad he's getting some use out of it. And then these are, it's a different shade of brown, but they're just little bowls, put your keys or change in. We were basically practicing centering the clay, because you have to get it perfectly centered on the pottery wheel in order for your piece to come out even. And not like this. You can probably see how uneven that is. So I was learning how to center. But in the last class, I was able to successfully throw 2 coffee mugs or large teacups, which is super exciting. And then tomorrow night, I go back and I'll be able to glaze them. No, I glazed them last week as well. I think it took 2 weeks. I threw it. Next week I glazed it. Tomorrow I'll be able to bring it home, I believe. So I'll have those to show you next time too. I feel like I'm babbling. I'm sorry. Okay, sewing. I finished my washi dress. Isabel of the Fluffy Fibers podcast is hosting a cute dress sew-along, which ends, is it the 4th? It ends today, I believe. So I joined that and made this washi dress. It's a Made by Ray pattern. I've showed it a couple times, but madebyray.com, and Ray is spelled R-A-E, and there's dashes between each of those words. It will be in the show notes, but it's a super cute dress. It has pockets and some shirring on the back, and there's also a way to make it into a tunic shirt, like a long shirt. You can make it without this scoop, which I'm thinking I maybe should have done, just to be a little more conservative, and you can also make it into a maxi dress. So that's super fun. I mentioned before I made the large size because I'm still losing weight from Cushing syndrome that I got before my surgery, and I should have probably made a medium or kept the large on top but did the medium bottom. So I'm going to stand up and show you what it looks like. It's also kind of see-through in the sunlight, so I have to wear a slip on the bottom half, I think. So it's going to be kind of hard to see, but so here it has the pleats, which I think are really pretty, and then the pockets are right here, which I love, but there's a lot of room back here. See? So, yeah, and then the back just kind of goes up to your neck. And it's a knee-length dress. So I think the medium would have been good. I have a lot of room. So, but I feel like the top fits well right now. But I like these little cap sleeves and the scoop neckline. So yeah, it came out nice, and I love, love, love the pockets. I would love to have pockets in every one of my dresses. So I think this will be cute with a little lightweight cardigan over it in the springtime, which was the purpose of this sew-along, to have a cute spring dress. And yeah, I'm happy with it. I probably would have chosen a different fabric if I got to choose again, but that's okay. I wanted it to be look a little bit like the washi pattern that's on here, the washi tape, and this fabric I couldn't find. I found what it's called, but I couldn't find it anywhere for sale at a reasonable price. So I bought some really fun quilting fabric because I want to, I've been saying this, but I'm really going to start quilting again. I'm in the middle of making a Little House on the Prairie quilt using the Quilt As You Go method book. And I want to finish that and be able to put it on our sofa and kind of put together another one, I think as a gift for special someones in my life. So I ordered this awesome fabric, which again is on its way, and I will be able to show you next time. That's another acquisition. I spent a lot of money last week, you guys. There's still so many things I want to get. I was in the middle of telling you that, I think, what I want to buy from crafters, and then I got off subject because, like I said, I got no sleep, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, question and answer, and then I'll show you the shop update, and then I'll let you go. So the first question is from Beth, and it says, "Hi Shawna, I'm wondering if you prefer to ball up your yarn or cake it. If cake," and then she put a little emoji of a cake, so cute, "do you pull from the center or outside, and why? Thank you for your podcast. You're so inspirational and motivating. I've never participated in a cal, quite nervous, but thinking of your trailing ivy cal. Purchased the pattern already, Beth." Thank you, Beth. You're very sweet to say that. I always cake my yarn and pull from the center. I've never balled it up, so I don't really know. I just start, as soon as I started knitting, I just learned how to cake yarn. I was watching podcasts and they were talking about these cakes and showing, what you used, a Swift and a yarn ball winder. It should be called a cake winder, shouldn't it? But I use the Stanwood Needlecraft brand of Swift and ball winder. It got really good reviews. I think I purchased them on Amazon, and I love the way both of them work. So I always cake my yarn, and that gives it a center pull. Because if it's not in the center, as you're pulling the yarn out, your ball or cake is gonna roll around, and same with a ball of yarn, it rolls. So I prefer caking it and pulling it from the center. So thank you for asking. And this one is, let's see, Andrea, I believe, yes, who is Mrs. Smith 615 on Ravelry. It says, "Hi Shawna, I am always curious about how you come up with color combinations that may not be to your liking. Have you ever made something that is polar opposite of your taste that you were surprised by its popularity?" And that is a fantastic question. Everything that I've made up until a couple of days ago, I think has been things that I like. I only buy fabrics that I love and would make, things for myself with. When I dye yarn, it's usually colors that I really love. I enjoy more muted tones, soft, subtle, like I said, mauve, taupe, gray, pink, those kind of muted tones of those colors. So that's my comfort zone. And up until a couple days ago, I started to get a little bit more experimental with my yarn dyeing. And I will show you a skein that will be in the shop during the shop update. And you'll be able to see how I broke out of my comfort zone. So that was a very good question. Everything that I make is intended to be colors or patterns or whatever that I really like. Because the product represents me and represents who I am, and that's kind of why. So that was an awesome question though. But I'll show you what I mean in just a minute during the shop update. So thank you, Andrea and Beth, for asking those wonderful questions. And if you have a question, whether it's about knitting or sewing, crafting, if it's personal question, go ahead and put it in the question and answer thread in the Ravelry group, and I will answer a couple of them during my podcast every week. So yeah. So my next shop update will be this Thursday, the 7th of April at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I think it's a good time of day for people who live outside of the U.S. and people who live in the U.S. So in that update, I will have quite a bit of yarn and project bags and notions bags. So I'll show you the yarn first. I have DK weight now, and I dyed up 2 colorways in it, I believe, so far. So these 2 are unnamed at the moment, but there'll be a couple of these, which I think came out really pretty. It's like a minty green with shades of gray. That's in the DK weight. And then this one, I think I'm going to call either Treehouse or... Oh, my husband came up with a really good one. Thank God I wrote it down. Brackish Waters. That's what it was. So it'll be one of those. I'm hoping to get some of these dyed up before Thursday. But this is the Walking Dead inspired colorway. It's called Woodbury, which if you watch the series, you'll know what that means. It's not tied up. This isn't a whole skein. It's kind of one that I'm going to break into minis eventually, but it's gray with, looks like blood splatters, just like specks of red. I think this would make fun socks for a woman or a man. And I will have some of my Sailor's Delight, which is pinks, yellows, golds, red, gray. I always remember when we would drive to Canada or home from Canada for our family cottage, from our family cottage, I can't talk. My mom would always, if the sunset was looking red, she would say, "A red sky at night is Sailor's Delight," meaning the next day it would be a really nice day for sailing. So that's why I named it that. This one is a new colorway, and I think I'm going to call it Berry Picker. It reminded me of strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. This one doesn't have a name yet either, but I thought it was fun. Different shades of brown, yellow, golds, and purple. I'll have some Neapolitan. And then I'll have some Pink Lemonade, which is one of my most popular. And I'll have that on two bases. I have it on Marion, which is high twist MCN. And there's Golden Stellina in this one. Wait, then this isn't my Marion. Back up. This is my new Stellina base. I didn't even notice it had Stellina until I was holding it up. I knew it when I dyed it. I was like, ooh, this will be really pretty with the Pink Lemonade. But this is my new Stellina base, which I'm calling Twinkle base. Twinkle. Because Stellina means little star. And my boys and I always sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star every night before bed. So it is my Twinkle base, but it looks very similar to my Marion base. That's why I said that. But there's different shades of pink, mauve, yellow. And then this is my Cecilia base, which is 50% non-superwash merino and 50% silk, and it's super shiny and soft and squishy. And I just want to cuddle with it. So we'll have some of that. And then this is a new colorway that when I was dyeing it, I had intended for it to come out much different. And this, Andrea, is an example of breaking out of my comfort zone. I wanted something not so pink because a lot of my colorways are pinky or purpley or mauvey. So I decided to make a skein that was mainly green with some fun speckles. So here it is. And I think it came out really different and fun. So I held this up to Aiden, my 8-year-old boy, who, mind you, boys they have the craziest brains when you hear what he came up with. So I was like, what do you think I should name this? Because I sometimes, or often, take advice from him for colorway names. And he said, it looks like dinosaur barf. And I sent it to Jilly of Knitting Broomsticks podcast. I sent her a picture and asked for a colorway idea and told her Aiden's recommendation, and she totally agreed and thought it was a good idea. So yes, this is dinosaur barf. And this is on my Marion base, which is the MCN. I kind of really like it though. I kind of really like it. See what happens? You break out of your comfort zone and you might actually like something. Okay, let me show you some bags and then that will be it. So I'm going to have quite a few large project bags, making sure I'm not out of memory. These aren't finished. I still have to trim up the edges and make them into bags, but the zippers are sewn in, and I just have to sew on my label and make it into a bag. But there's this cute bicycle print with a little black cat on it on some of the bikes. Little basket on there. I thought this was really cute. So there'll be that one. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to sell the Notions pouches with the bag, kind of as a little kit. I thought about listing them separately, but I feel like since I did them in matching fabrics, there are going to be some people who buy the bag and won't be able to purchase the Notions pouch to match if they wanted to. And vice versa, people who get the Notions pouch but they're unable to get the bag. And I used fabrics that I'm running low on to kind of use them up, to kind of make room for some new fabrics. So most of these, I don't have more fabric to make more. So the bags and the Notions pouches are all interfaced with a really soft, smushy interfacing and all completely lined. And these are kind of new to my shop, and this is because I was knitting on the Bon Bon Bunny, and I was kind of getting mad at myself because everything was just thrown at the bottom of my project bag. My darning needle, especially with all those little pieces, you need to kind of keep up with weaving in ends. So my darning needle was down there. I couldn't find my chapstick. My stitch markers, everything was gone, all mixed up, stuck in my yarn cake. And then I was working on the shawl and I was trying to find, you need like 2 different color stitch markers, and again, stuff was everywhere. I can't find anything. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna sew up my own Notions pouch. And I was cutting fabric for them and I just got carried away and I started pulling all this fabric out. And I was like, oh, I have these size zippers. I have a bunch of them, so why not? So that's that set. It will be the bag, a large bag, and a Notions pouch. And the large bags will have a handle on them. There will be this print, really cute vintage flowers. This is one of my favorites. I'll have it in the bag too. I just have to buy more lining for that, for this particular bag. So there will be 1 or 2 of each print available, depending on which one it is. I'll have this one, and here's the Notions pouch. I'll have these cute little chickens with eggs. I bought this fabric last year, I think, about a year ago, and I never used it. And it's so cute. All different types of teas. And these cute birds. And I'll have a couple bags like this as well. But the little girl with her fox holding a balloon. So yeah, all of this will be in the shop for Thursday, the 7th, I think I said? Yep, 7th of April, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you all for putting up with me today, for tuning in and spending your precious time with me to see what I'm up to. And I hope you all have a lovely week, and I'll see you